It's 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve here at a Tesla V3 in Florida, just south of Tampa. And again, I'm just lonely.
That was easy.
I really don't want to be a fanboy, and I'm not going to be, but it is just a pleasure. Downright boring. I mean, you don't even have to think about this when you got a Tesla. With no audible warning, it threw me in jail. And so I looked in the menus to see if there was any kind of a, what the heck? What the heck? Hey, this bird is like, I don't know, maybe that's the jailbird coming after me. Hello and welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where today it is road trip time. And you know what's interesting is there's been a lot of people talking about the CCS network and how unreliable it's been, especially in the cold weather. Well, I'm going to be traveling from here in Connecticut all the way down to Marco Island, Florida, in my new new to me, 2021 Model S, the refresh, the one with the yoke. I've been looking forward to doing this trip for a while. And the question is the Tesla network really that much better than the CCS network? And everyone says it is, but here I am. I'm going to be going down on a holiday weekend, super cold temperatures. What am I going to find? Is it going to be great? Let's see what happens. It's road trip time, folks. Let's get into it. Perfect timing. You know, even though I'm going to be mostly on the road trip, I'm really interested to see what kind of graphics this is going to have. And oh boy, I'm excited. I hope this really is FSD beta. Okay, so as we start this trip here in Darien, Connecticut, the key thing for this trip is it's all going to be about testing the charger. Now, many of you know that I purchased this 2021 Model S long range specifically for this exact trip, so that I had more range and access to the Supercharger network. And today we're leaving about 6:30 a.m. It's December 23rd, just before Christmas. So we're talking about testing out here the Supercharger network, plus the fact that I've now got the CCS Combo 1 adapter in case I need to pivot and utilize, let's say, any one of the public networks, the CCS network. So, but the question is, am I going to run into lines at Tesla Supercharger stations? Are the superchargers that I'm going to run into, are they going to be 150s for the most part? And am I going to be sharing? And what kind of speeds am I going to be getting? This is a test to see, is the Supercharger network truly dominant? I believe it is, but when you're testing it out on a holiday weekend, when flights can be disrupted, we've got major weather coming through. Currently, I said earlier, it's 56 degrees out, but it's going to be dropping down tonight, this afternoon, right around 2 o'clock. It's going to be about 35 degrees. Then it's going to sink down. And I'm reading that the deep south is going to be in the 20s and some areas even the teens. So yeah, let's test out this Supercharger network. I would say this is a double black diamond ski trail all the way from Connecticut to Florida. I'm strapping on my boards. Let's go, folks.
Summertime, get ready, we are so divine. Blue water and yellow sand. Let's live our dream. Summertime, get ready, we are so divine. Blue water and yellow sand. Just you and me. Summertime, get ready, we are so divine. Blue water and yellow sand. Let's live our dream.
Okay, so just doing a little quick check-in. So far we've gone 113 miles on the trip. It's been 2 hours, so not quite averaging 60 miles an hour. A little bit of traffic around New York, obviously, but overall it's been a pretty good trip. Pretty windy out. I want to talk a little bit about efficiency. This Model S, this 2021 long range, is rated by the EPA at 405 miles of EPA rated range. And a lot of people think, oh, well, that's what I'm going to get when I drive. Well, let's take a look at the trip that we've done so far today. Gone about 113 miles in 2 hours. We're burning 312 watt hours every mile. All right, so what does that mean? How do you figure that out? Well, the first thing you need to understand is how big is the battery pack? And just to keep things simple, the battery pack in this car is roughly 100,000 watt hours or 100 kilowatt hours. And so think of that like, you know, if you have a 20-gallon gas tank or a 15-gallon gas tank, this has a 100,000 watt hour energy storage capacity, or 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. If you were burning, let's just say every mile 400 watt hours, then you would only be able to go 250 miles on that full tank of 100,000 watt hours. If you were only burning 200 watt hours every mile, you would be able to go 500 miles. Now, how am I calculating that? It's pretty simple. You got 100,000 watt hours divided by 400 watt hours that you're burning, and that would only give you 250 miles of range, even though the car says EPA rated 405. Now, I'm burning 312 watt hours every mile on average so far on this trip, averaging about a little under 60 miles an hour. Temperature 50 degrees, decent amount of wind. I am running on 19-inch. I have the Martian wheels with 19-inch, the original equipment Continental tires. So 100,000 watt hour battery pack, 100 kWh, divided by 312 is roughly 320 miles. What's interesting is the indicator on the dash right above the yoke is saying that I have 220 miles of range left in the tank. And if I add that 220 plus the 116 that I've now gone, that's about 336. And based on the watt hours per mile that I'm burning, I estimate around 320. So I've got this now pretty good handle on my driving conditions, how fast I'm going, how fast I think I'm going to be going, whether or not temperature is going to be coming down. Am I going to be going into more of a mountainous area? Is it going to get windier? Then I can actually start thinking about calculating all this in my head. Now, with Tesla, you don't have to worry about it, right? Everyone says all you got to do is put in your destination and it tells you where to stop, which is true. But this car, if you remember, when I first got in there, up in Connecticut, and I'm in New Jersey, it told me to stop and arrive at a destination with a 36% state of charge. Now, yes, you can do that. That's fine. But you have to remember that these batteries, what happens is when you put in a destination as to where you're going to go, Tesla does it great. It's the best, right? Without a doubt. Preconditioning. What will happen is the battery will start warming up or cooling down prior to you getting to the destination you're going to go to, so that when you pull in, you're going to be able to take the optimal amount of energy in the pack. But 36% state of charge is way too soon to pull in to a charging station. And why is that? Well, number one, because you got a lot more juice in the tank, so you can go further. And overall, if you do that and you keep going further, you're going to eliminate at least 1 or 2 stops on a 1,300-mile trip, which is what I'm doing right now, 1,350 miles or so. But more important than that, the thing is that the lower the state of charge that you pull into with, I should say, the more energy that you're going to pull, because this battery pack starts tapering. And I've done an analysis on exactly when this battery pack starts tapering. But you pull into a V3 where you're pulling 250 kilowatts of energy, and it will pull that, but not much over 36% state of charge. So you may plug in at a 36% state of charge because Tesla tells you to do that. You may peak at 250, and then it starts tapering after that very quickly. So the strategy that we've developed over the years here at Out of Spec is to try and pull in with a much lower state of charge so that you minimize the number of stops that you have to make, number one. Number two, you want to be able to maximize the amount of energy that you can pull out of the dispenser, because the thing that a lot of people don't understand when you're road tripping is the car is telling the dispenser how much energy to give it based on the temperature of the battery pack, the state of charge. There's a number of factors that go into how much energy the car is going to ask for with respect to a supercharging session. So my advice is skip that stop that Tesla's saying to go to and just drive, right? Forget about it. And then when you get down under, let's just say, 75 miles worth of range, start looking for a supercharger station that makes the most sense. And the one that you want to look for is you want to look for a V3. The nice thing about Tesla is it tells you not only where the supercharger stations are, but it also tells you how many are there and whether or not they're version 2s or version 3s. Version 3s, they're just faster. So that's where you want to go, is to a V3. Now, if you do go to a V2, we've talked about this many times on the channel. The problem with V2s is they only output a maximum of 150, and the cabinets that are behind the dispensers, they control 2 different dispensers. So if you're sharing a cabinet, let's say 1A and 1B, with another car, you're only going to be pulling 75 kilowatts, and that's not good. So always look for the V3s. The V3s don't share, number one, and number two, they output 250 kilowatts. At least that's what they're doing today. So that's the strategy here for road tripping. This is, think about the math. It's a lot of fun. If you just want to forget all this, you can just do that. And just do what Tesla, just put in your destination, and Tesla will tell you exactly where to go, where to stop, how long to stop for, what state of charge you're going to go in at. It's just bulletproof. But to me, it's just super conservative. And so if you have any interest in making a road trip into a game, you know, the old saying, the journey is the destination, right? Yeah, I want to get to Florida. Yeah, I want to sit on the beach. Yeah, I want to go to Stan's on Sunday in Goodland, no doubt. But, you know, the fact is that you got to look at the journey, right? The trip is where the fun is, and it's all about the math and the data. So hopefully this little education session is helpful, and we'll continue on. One other thing to keep in mind when you're road tripping is, rather than keeping the indicator on the dash in terms of how many miles of range do you have left, I like to keep it in terms of how much percentage of the battery pack do I have left. And if you can, you know what happens with Tesla, that at least my observation is that when you get down to 5%, the system kind of hangs out there for a while. and sometimes it'll pop between 5 and 6 or 5 and 4, but it kind of thinks about where it's at. And so you want to really look at the state of charge in terms of a percentage as opposed to miles. Look at both for sure. Miles I know is easy to keep track of, but it's all about the driving conditions and temperature and speed and how many people are in the car. So yeah, for me it's just Bailey and myself. That's it. She's been asleep the whole time. So anyway. All right, so we are heading into Baltimore right now, and let's just take a little summary look at the trip so far. We've gone 227 miles, an average energy burn rate of 360 watt hours per mile. We've burned 72 kilowatt hours of the 100, so roughly 70.
Interstate 95 South.
Roughly 72%. Figure 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, and it's saying we've got 63 miles left in the tank. So that's range of a roughly 290 miles on an EPA rated, let's just call it 405 miles, so 280. So listen, a couple things have happened here. Wind has picked up tremendously on this trip. Temperatures have dropped down from over 50 degrees. I think it was 55, 57 degrees. It's now down to 36 degrees. And here in, where am I? Somewhere in Maryland, it was snowing just a little bit a while ago. So the wind chill must be super cold, and look, it's saying strong winds forecasted from the west. I like that. That's nice. So it's telling me winds are forecast. I'm not really sure how it's taking into account, but I'm going to be stopping in Laurel, Maryland as our first stop. We're going to arrive with an estimated 6% state of charge, which is enough buffer for me not to worry, and also down low enough in the pack so that we'll be able to take on as much energy as possible. So supercharger number 1, here we come, Laurel, Maryland. All right, so here I am doing 1 mile an hour here on the BWI Expressway. I'm only about a half a mile away from the Laurel Supercharger. Interesting, they have some very highly incentivized pricing from 12 midnight till 4 a.m. at only 22 cents a kilowatt hour. And then it jumps up after that to 37 cents or 44 cents a kilowatt hour. So I think that's good if you live locally and you need to charge your car at the supercharger for whatever reason, you know, go after midnight. It's half the cost.
Now take the exit on the
So
line toward Fort
I
Meade.
think that's really good. The other thing is I got thrown in autopilot jail again. Second time I'm not even in.
1,000 feet, turn right onto Laurel Fort Meade Road.
Second time, and I'm not even in Washington, D.C. yet. And one thing I've noticed is that what I've noticed is that the warning signals have changed from what I'm used to with autopilot with this full self-driving beta. Normally, what it will do is you'll get a light that'll light up, and it'll tell you, hey, listen, you know, it'll warn you to grab the wheel, and then a little line will come up down below that will say, you know, hey, listen, you better pay attention. And then it will start chiming at you and say, you really better pay attention. But here, with this new FSD, as soon as you hear the chime, you're in jail. It just throws you in jail, like, you know, no questions asked. And I've gotten nailed twice, and this is a big, long trip, so I gotta, you know, I think what they're trying to do, unless I'm missing something, because I went in the menus and I tried to figure out if there was a place that I could actually adjust and maybe have a chime, but there wasn't. So I think they've just tightened up the, you know, how easily you can be thrown in autopilot jail. They've nailed me twice. And I really wasn't not paying attention that much, but enough to make it say, hey, Dave, you're a bad guy. So I actually think it's good. I think it's good they've tightened this up. Okay, so we pulled in with a 6% state of charge, and battery was preconditioning. We're at a V3, and we're pulling 158 kilowatts. There are only 2 other cars here at the moment, so, you know, no issues as far as availability here in Laurel. Let's see the statistics. We've driven all the way down here. Oh, this is saying please play while you wait. Did 256 miles. We used 81 kilowatt hours and 318 or 316 watt hours per mile. You can see the temperature has dropped down from 58 or 57 degrees to 29 degrees. It's super windy outside right now. I'm getting rocked around here. Bailey and I are both getting rocked around here by the wind. And I know you want to go out and run around a little bit, but boy, oh boy, we got to put your coat on because it is definitely very windy and cold out there. So, but you're being a really good girl, and trip is going, listen, you know, smooth as can be. It surely is. This Tesla just is a road tripping animal, super comfortable, and really enjoying it. So there we go. Oh yeah, Bailey's got her raincoat on, but it's actually an insulated coat. Really quite nice. This girl doesn't like to wear clothes, so she's very feisty when I put her jacket on. But yeah, I think it's time for us to go for a little walk, maybe get some water. Here we are at the Wawa, and look at this, pulling 256 kilowatts. That is just awesome. That's what we're talking about. Already taken on 13 kilowatt hours, 14 kilowatt hours. Really good. All right. Well, here we are at the Wawa, first charging stop. Pulled in with 6%, pulling 256 kilowatts. Sorry for the wind, but a great first charging stop here. By the time I got my sandwich, I was at 80%. Gave the food, get a little bit of food and water to Bailey. We're all set. We're at 86%, ready to go. All right, so just to summarize this first charging session here in Laurel, Maryland, I would say that it was perfect, just uneventful. I was pulling 256 kW max. I went from 6% to 81%. We'll go over the numbers. Didn't take very long. By the time I got my sandwich and I wanted the corn chowder and they ran out, so I had to get the Wawa chili. But then as I'm thinking about it, chili on a road trip, that has got to be the dumbest thing. Anyway, listen, I think I was paying 37 cents a kilowatt hour, something like that. I took in 81% state of charge, so roughly around 81 kilowatt hours. And I will give that the...
That was easy.
That gets the that was easy supercharging session. Bailey, what do you think? I mean, no drama, no CCS issues. It just, you plugged in, it worked, and now we're leaving. Holiday weekend so far, we're off to a good start. I don't want to jinx it by saying that, but this Tesla road tripping stuff is super easy so far. No problem. I made it all the way from Fairfield County, Connecticut, south of Baltimore. And next stop, I don't even know where we're going. Somewhere in Virginia. We got to figure that out down the road. Well, I guess we'll say goodbye to our first Tesla supercharging event of this whole trip. I would say this was a big success. And now we are going to use Waze to navigate through Washington, D.C. I only trust Waze when it comes to gnarly traffic.
Let's get started.
And
Drive safe.
There she goes.
Turn right.
All right.
And then turn right.
All right. Well, there we go. There you have it. Waze is
Red
in.
light camera reported ahead.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Waze is in. Waze is telling me lots of stuff here. What do you think, Bailey? Should we listen to her? Yeah, we better listen to her.
Turn right.
All right. I will. I have now been in Autopilot Jail 3 times, and I'm not even to Richmond, Virginia yet. There's no excuse, Dave. I know, right? But I have a theory about why it's happening, not an excuse. Tesla has changed the algorithm that monitors the driver's ability to stay with their hand on the yoke or the wheel. Clearly over and above anything I've ever been used to. Normally when you're using autopilot on the highway, you'll get a light that will come on and it'll start flashing on a Model S in front of the steering wheel, the yoke, and then it will start slowly putting some text up on the screen, and then it might start beeping at you and then beeping a little louder and a little louder, and then you'll grab the wheel and then you'll be okay.
Reported ahead.
Every once in a while you'll miss it and you'll have to pull over, restart, go into park, and restart autopilot. Here it's no different. The only thing is, this is my explanation, not excuse, is that I'm driving directly into the sunlight here, and I can't really see. There was a glare on the screen and I couldn't really see the fact that the autopilot system was saying I needed to keep my hands on the wheel. And the traffic's been very, I think, patchy. So I think that it's at a state where it's at a heightened awareness to remind you more often than perhaps if you're just on a highway and there's no one else around for 50 miles. I think that's how it works. But here's the thing. With this FSD beta, as soon as I heard the first beep, normally it would go beep, 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 and then, but here I would hear beep, I was immediately thrown into jail. Like, no questions asked. Somebody grabbed me by my collar and threw me in jail. Happened to me once. Then I was a little more careful. Happened to me twice. It happened to me 3 times. And you only get 5 shots. And if you get 5 times in jail, you're out of the program. So I've got to be a lot more careful because I do want to test out all the driving on the city streets. I'm anxious about this. The graphics are really cool, and I want to test out all of its capabilities. So I just got to be more careful. Not good. We have gone a total of 434 miles. We've burned 133 kilowatt hours and average 307 watt hours per mile, which is, what's interesting is the last leg, I've gone 180 miles in 3 hours and 41 minutes, 295 watt hours per mile. Very efficient for this car, especially a car of this size. But we were going slow. So, that's the situation. We're currently at a 25% state of charge. We are going to be stopping at Halifax, which is Roanoke Rapids. It's just over the border into North Carolina from Virginia. So you remember the first stop we did was Laurel, Maryland. And so from Laurel, Maryland, we're going to stop now in basically Halifax, Roanoke Rapids. We should arrive there with about a 6% state of charge, which is plenty of buffer. The next unit down, which is actually Rocky Mount, that's only a 150, and it'd be like borderline for me pulling in on electrical fumes if I were to do that. So I'm gonna be more conservative. Halifax is a 250. The interesting thing is, Kyle and I were talking about this earlier. This is the holiday weekend. This is Friday, December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And, there's a lot of people on the road. So far, I only had that one instance of charging, and it wasn't that crowded, except for the Mini Cooper. It was a cute little Mini Cooper, and she did have a dog, but that's, whatever. It's just wrong. Don't do that. Anyway, people just don't know. But this unit here in Halifax is interesting because we are in Halifax. It's a 12 station supercharger, and it says there's only 2 stalls available. So yeah, look, I'm 43 miles away. I've got about 86 miles of range in the tank, 24% state of charge. Look, we won't have any issue as far as making it to Halifax. But when we get there, the question is, are we going to have to wait in line? I don't know. I mean, thank goodness they put a 12 station in, because there's only 2 available right now. We'll see. We'll see. It's freaking cold outside. I'm in North Carolina right now. It's 28 degrees out and the wind is whipping. I'm used to the cold and I'm shivering. Bailey, I just stopped off at right at the borderline here, right over the border from Virginia. And everybody was freaking out, cold. And it was pretty funny. So yeah, 10 miles away from Halifax, and we are going to arrive with a 4% state of charge. The battery pack, it said it was preconditioning earlier, but it's not right now. And I've got the destination set in there. A lot of trees down on the road. There was some really heavy winds. Here we are in Garysburg, North Carolina. For those of you who follow the channel, the Out of Spec track is here in Garysburg. North Carolina Center for Automotive Research, aka the Out of Spec track. I believe, yeah, we've spent a lot of time on the track here, and Kyle obviously used to live right just down the road here in North Carolina. But all right, anyway, next stop, Halifax, and we're going to arrive with a 4% state of charge. I think we're going to kick up the speed here a little bit now and burn off some juice and try and pull in a little bit closer to zero. All right, so folks, here we are in Halifax, North Carolina. We've got 11 Teslas here and only one open spot. So the holiday weekend is kicking in high gear here in North Carolina. Look at this, all these Teslas. We've got 11 out of 12 that are occupied, and it's 28 degrees out here. Everybody's frozen. But check this out, there is a charge point over here as well, but it's just like, there's Tesla and everything else. Looks like they got this extra spot here just in case they're going to put in expansion here for this charge point unit. I don't know, it's pretty crazy. But you know what's nice about these this station here is they have garbage cans and they have windshield washers. They got a spot here for your pet. Oh, look at this beautiful dog here. Wow, gorgeous. Wow, this is some beautiful sight here. We got a Model Y trying to pull in with this Model 3's kind of over the line there. I don't think he realizes. But yeah, this is a big installation, V3, and looking good here. So we're taking the juice. So we pulled in at 6% state of charge. It was interesting. We went from 4% to 6%, and I went faster. So obviously, I think the BMS was getting a little confused in these cold temperatures. It stopped preconditioning. Anyway, 28 degrees out here in North Carolina, and we're ramping up. At 12%, we were only pulling 150. Now at 18%, we're up to 180. Obviously, this is a V3, and you can see it's a high usage supercharger station. So great location here, and clearly in high demand here on this holiday weekend. But there's no line, at least not now, and I think that's real good. What do you think, Bailey? What do you think, girl? Huh? What do you think? You keeping guard of the car here? All right. 12 out of 12. One left. One was waiting. That white one right there. And now pulling in. So we're at full capacity. Not a line now. There was one waiting. But yeah, this is starting to happen. There are a lot of Teslas out there. A lot of Teslas. And there's a Bailey. Bailey's got her coat on. She's doing laps over here. North Carolina laps. We're right by the racetrack. So as I pull out, we have a Model Y pulling in, so we're still full here in Halifax. I just finished charging. I charged it up to 80%, got a little bite to eat, cleaned the windshield, and off we go. So yeah, this Tesla Supercharger is rocking and rolling. So I'm sitting here in the Crackle Barrel. I'm going to do 100% deep charge on the, probably go 90%. And then maybe in the morning, I don't know. I may just go 100%. It's probably not the right thing to do. Let it sit like that. I have to think about it. But I'm pretty tired. I've been sick. So I'm going to have my dinner. It's been a great day so far. The Superchargers, they just work. And this is a holiday weekend and no issues. There are a lot of Teslas out there for sure, but this is all, it's really doing great. Well, here I am in Fayetteville. I love this place because there's a Cracker Barrel right across the street. Took my time, charged up to 95%. These are only V2s. I wasn't sharing, but you know, another uneventful Tesla road trip charging session. I mean, you know, once again,
That was easy.
it's just easy. It's really easy. I love this Tesla Supercharger network. I really do. By the way, the graphics in this full self-driving are pretty insane. I mean, I got to figure this thing out. I haven't played around with it driving around the local streets at all. I've just been using the basically the enhanced autopilot functionality for lane changes, which I'm back in love with. I just got to stay out of jail. I need that like stay out of jail card from Monopoly. For those that know, those that know.
We don't need a destination, let's go where the river's taking us. Over fields and through the country, letting go of everything but us. Over the rainbow. If we hold tight, we can chase the Mississippi through the night, hundreds of miles away. The water is warm, let's dip our toes right in and be reborn. I don't know why we'd wait. Grab sunglasses and the atlas, we can prove we're smarter than a phone. Let's go where there's no receptions, go where there's no reception, see if we can make it on our own.
Hey Bailey, we just passed south of the border. You want to go in there? You want to go in? South of the border? And play in the pet park? Or do you just want to sleep? You're a tired puppy, aren't you? Yeah. Well, maybe on the way back we'll stop off at south of the border, okay? But not tonight.
Let's be reborn. We don't need a destination, let's go where the river's taking us. over fields and through the country, letting go of everything.
Super windy here at Buc-ee's. I gotta check this place out. You got the Tesla Superchargers all the way over there. So it seems like a massive superstore over here. I gotta go in here. And no trucks allowed. This is just a car stop, not a truck stop, which is interesting. And then on top of that, you got so many gas pumps. I mean, I've never seen a gas station this big before. Look at this thing. It goes all the way down there. And there's Buc-ee. Look at him. Look at his teeth. He's got some buck teeth. Let's go in this place. Well, good morning from Florence, South Carolina, where it is 20 degrees outside and there's a nasty wind chill. But yesterday, good trip, had a good sleep last night. Bailey just took her walk and we're starting day 2 of our road trip down to Marco Island, Florida. All good so far, very uneventful. The road's not super crowded. Of course, Washington, D.C. always crowded. But yeah, looking forward to day 2 of a very uneventful trip. Hopefully, now that I've said that, who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, day 2, let's get into it. So here we are cruising down the road, and you'll see that it tells me in the lower left-hand corner I've got 153 miles of range, but I'm currently at a 40% state of charge. And if you think about 40% of the rated range of 405 EPA, that's around 161 miles. And so I'm not really sure what this 153 range left is telling me, because it's 19 degrees out, I'm at highway speeds, and when you look at the state of charge that it tells me I'm going to arrive at Walterboro, it's saying 3%, and clearly that's only 79 miles away. So look, as good as this Tesla navigation is, clearly, you know, listen to what this is saying over here, but that sort of indicator as to how many miles you can go, and that's just like way off. Whereas over here, this is probably more relatively spot on. Now, when I started off at 90 miles of distance to Walterboro, it said I would arrive with a 7% state of charge. Now it's already down to 3%, because yeah, I'm carrying speed in 19 degree weather. But you know, look, I got to bail out. Walterboro's a 250. It's a 12 station. St. George, which is only about 60 miles away from where I am right now, is also a 250. You know, 12 station. There's 2 people at one of them and nobody at the other right now at 6:38 a.m. on Christmas Eve. So, you know, I'm not worried about pulling up and getting a charger, but I sure would like to make it to Walterboro. Oh, look at that, drop down to 2%. I'll tell you what, I don't think I'm making it to Walterboro at these speeds. Now, one thing I could do is I could lower my speed and bring it down to 65 or 62 and kind of, you know, kind of going on the fumes, as we say, right? Or we used to say. But you know what? With this Tesla network everywhere, I don't need to do that. So the better strategy is to burn the juice, pick up the speed, stop off at St. George, and take as much juice as I can there, because I'm not going to make it to St. George, or I'm not going to make it to Walterboro if I keep these speeds that I'm going right now. So new strategy. I think we're gonna shoot for St. George and allegedly pick up the speeds. That's my strategy. So I've plugged in St. George, and you can see it's telling me we're gonna arrive with a 10% state of charge. It's only 54 miles away, and you can see how it says preconditioning the battery for fast charging, right? So, you know, Tesla just gets it right. Everything. Plug and charge. What is that? You pull up, you plug in, and it charges. How difficult is that? No apps. You don't have to worry about anything, right? Battery preconditioning. Hey, listen, it's cold outside. It's 19 degrees out. Let's warm up the battery before we get there so that when I get there, I can take the optimal amount of temperature. How difficult is that, right? And then en route mapping. It tells you where to go. So Walterboro, yeah, I was pushing it. It says, you know, I'll arrive with 1%. I can control it with speed, but let's stop one station closer. You know, Tesla's just built, at least up and down this I-95 corridor between New York and Florida. There's stations everywhere. I mean, Buc-ee's was just insane. There's so many stations now, and it's only gotten better. And I think that, at least my experience is, for this trip so far, they're keeping up with the amount of Teslas they're selling. Now, I'm sure it's going to get a little crazy at certain times of the day here and there at certain stations. But overall, compare this to road tripping a CCS car? Are you kidding me? You pull into an EA station, they got 6 stations, 3 of them are down, 2 of them are 350s. Usually you got some like Bolt or Kona charging on the 350 when you got your Ioniq 5 or your Taycan or your Lucid. I mean, like, honestly, road tripping in a Tesla, this is the way to go, folks. And not only that, if, let's just say, something were wrong with the Tesla network on a particular stop, I can bail out. And I got a CCS Combo 1 adapter, and I can use EA, or I can use ChargePoint or EVgo as those networks all get built out. So, look, I just, for right now, I agree with what Kyle said the other day on his video about road tripping. If you want a road trip a lot, it's Tesla, or it's a hybrid, or it's a gas car. If you want to road trip a CCS car and you just want it to work and you don't have an adventurous spirit, I mean, good luck to you, especially on these holiday weekends, especially in cold temperatures where they may not even work. So look, I don't know. This is not a sustainable situation. We've got so many CCS cars coming onto the marketplace, and there's very little infrastructure that is working, at least from what I saw in Kyle's video, in these super cold temperatures. So I know everybody's working hard and trying to get it right, but boy, I'll tell you what, Tesla, it's just so good. I'm so happy to be in a Tesla again for road tripping. It's actually a little bit boring, but you know what? The driver assistance, the less anxiety that I have now and not worrying about where I'm going to charge and when I pull up, is it going to work? I mean, it just works. Okay, here we are. It is 7:24 a.m. Christmas Eve 2022. I'm at a 5% state of charge. Here I am at St. George, and it is downright lonely here. I mean, this is just unbelievable. We've got 12 V3s here, not one EV charging, except for me, because I'm about to plug in. Now, this is really difficult to do this. You just go like this, you plug in, and within how many seconds? It starts charging. Okay, try that in a CCS car. Now listen, I like CCS cars, don't get me wrong. I own one of them, right? We've got the GV60, but road tripping anything other than a Tesla, I am just like, why? Look at this. It's Christmas Eve. Now granted, it's a little early, but still, what a great facility this is. I kind of like how they have these pull-ins like this. This is interesting. Anyway, let's see what we're pulling. Wow, look at the car. Doesn't it look beautiful? Look at that. It's nice sunrise. Yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right, well, let's see what we're pulling in terms of power. All right. Bailey, you doing all right, girl? All right, so we were pulling 158 right out of the gate at like 5%. Now we're up at 11% and just pegged to 256. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Bring it on. Bring on the juice. Gotta love it. Interesting. At 20%, the car just dropped off to 40 kilowatts. I've not seen this ever. Still 19 degrees out. Let's give it some time. Let's see what it's doing. Very strange. Now I hear it ramping up again, or I hear some motor turning. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Hey, listen, you know, it just it took a little bit of a breather. Now it's ramping back down a little bit. No? Yeah, that was strange. I've not seen that behavior before, at least not in this car. I've seen others do similar things. Whatever. Look, you know, the car was taking a breather. It said, hey, Supercharger, give me a little less. I need to catch my breath. Now it's pegged at 257. You gotta love it. So here's the similar behavior that I've experienced. Still 19 degrees out. At 32%, right around 31% is when the car starts to taper off of the 250. So why this makes sense to pull in as low as possible in a Tesla, at least this particular, the Model S, the 2021 refresh, is because anything above 33%, you're not going to be pulling 250 on a V3. See that it's ramping down now. We're at 35% and you're only pulling 216. So you want to maximize the amount of energy that you can take out of the car. It's the combination of the battery preconditioning plus being at a low state of charge. And when I say low, anywhere, let's just call it above 5%, above 5% to 33% or 32%. That's kind of the sweet spot for this car in terms of where it's going to charge fastest. So keep that in mind when you're road tripping. Definitely don't pull into a supercharger at 28 or 32% because you're not going to maximize. Go as low as you can, as low as you're comfortable in the pack. But again, keep in mind that you've got this network here. This Tesla network is just everywhere. You know, up and down the East Coast, and you can see all these different stations here up and down the I-95 corridor that are just unbelievable. Now, as you get off the beaten path a little bit, be careful. Make sure you carry your CCS adapter, right? Just in case, if you need to go hunting for a, you know, for a station off brand, you know, make sure you've got that. And of course you want to bring your J1772 just in case you arrive at a hotel, you know, that doesn't have a Tesla level 2 adapter or level 2 charger, but that's got a J1772 level 2 charger. At least then with your Tesla, obviously everyone knows what these are, but you know, you want to have one of these J1772 to Tesla adapters for level 2 if you're doing an overnight stay at a hotel. Great idea to plug in as late as possible so that when you wake up, your car just hits that 100% charge, and then you can continue on your road trip with the level 2. Always better for the battery to charge on a level 2 than a DC fast charging supercharger in terms of longevity. So yeah, keep that in your car as well. You want to have those 2 adapters. And then of course we've got a Model Y that just pulled in. Interesting Model Y over there. He's got red walls, not white walls. That's interesting. Look at that. Look at those on those tires. Where's he from? Oh, he's from New York. All right. Listen, you know, everybody's got their own unique way of customizing their car. Yeah, very cool. You want to go for a walk? Huh? You want to go for a walk outside while we're charging? It's cold out there. You want to put your coat on? We should probably put your coat on, but we're only going to be out there for a minute, and I know you don't like to wear your coat. What do you think? Huh? All right. Bailey. She's doing her thing. All right, girl. Oh, yeah. So we're at 62% state of charge and still pulling over 100 kilowatts. We're at 74% state of charge, which says, you know, the rated, or what the way Tesla tells you is, all right, you've got 283 miles, 284 miles in the tank. I've ramped down to 80 kilowatts. So if I've got 284 miles estimated range, and I want to try to make it to Brunswick, Georgia, which is only 151 miles away, it's telling me that I'm going to arrive there at -9%. And so I think what's going on here is this calculation over here is must be based on EPA, just sort of a straight calculation. Whereas this calculation over here must be taking into account things like my speed, perhaps. Maybe it's taking into account the weather. So what I do want to do, Brunswick is a 24 stall 250. There's 17 stalls available. Here it is, almost 8 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve. Again, no issues with availability. And so far, it's been flawless in terms of plugging in and charging. So, you know, I kind of would like to, even though I probably could bail now because I'm only pulling 75 kilowatts, I think I'm going to stay deeper into the pack here. And I don't know how far. I'd like to see this number at 10%, not -7. So I'm going to stick with this for a while because I'd like to try to make it to Brunswick as my next stop. So let's see what happens. Let's just take a look at the bailout options. Now, we talked about Brunswick being a 250, which is, of course, 17 stalls available right now. I'm up here in, where the heck am I? In St. George, and what I've got Here's bailout number 1. This is an 8-stall 250 in Hardyville. Bailout number 2 is this 8-stall 250 in Pooler, Georgia, which is just over the border from, I guess, well, it's right near Savannah. And that's a welcome charger there, because this one here, for those of you that remember, this was this was the Savannah charging station for years that we used to have to go to, and it's at the airport, and it's kind of a weird, funky thing. You gotta like take a ticket and go in there, and then it's strange. It's a beautiful little airport, by the way, but you know, it's off of 95, and you got to go down here and up and over, and it's just a pain. And it's only one. Those are only they're only V2s, and they're older V2s, if I'm not mistaken. So this Pooler, Georgia, that was a welcome addition down here on the 95 corridor. And then you see there's a little bit of a dead zone all the way to Brunswick. So that's kind of what I want to do, is I want to sit. I don't really want to just go to Pooler, because Pooler is only 86 miles away. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, I'm just going to stay on the hook here. I'm only 144 miles away from Brunswick. And again, look at this. It's telling me I got 307 miles in the tank, but yet when I plug in Brunswick here, let me end this. Yeah, it's still saying that I'm going to pull in with -3, and it's only it's 151 miles away. 309 miles. Yeah, wow. All right, I'm going to stay on the hook here. All right, so I'm at 91%, pulling 41 kilowatts. I know that normally I would have left by now, but I do want to make it all the way down to the next stop, and Brunswick. And so, yeah, I think that this is kind of a unique situation to go as deep into the pack. As far as Brunswick goes, it's telling me 6% arrival. I'm feeling relatively confident about that, but I'm gonna leave as soon as that number hits 10%, and then I can whittle it down. In terms of mileage, again, Brunswick is 150 miles away, and this, it's telling me I've got 350 miles of range. So yeah, be careful, folks. Be careful, especially in cold weather. Okay, so it's now telling me that I should arrive in Brunswick, Georgia with a 10% state of charge. I've left that much buffer because of the cold, and interesting, it's telling me I've got 364 miles of range, but yet 150 miles away with a 10% buffer, I'm gonna arrive at Brunswick. So it's time to unplug, which I'm going to do. And another amazing charging session here in St. George. Since I've arrived, we've got 4 other Teslas, so a total of 5 here. Again, not bad for 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:15 in the morning on Christmas Eve. And all I can say is charging session number 4. You know what?
That was easy.
That was easy. This whole trip, it's been easy. So let's keep going on. Let's see what happens. St. George, actually Brunswick, here we come. St. George, thank you so much. Bailey, what do you say? You ready to go to Georgia? Is Georgia on your mind? Oh, come say a quick hi. Come say a quick hi. Oh, look at you. Are you having a good trip? Are you having a good trip? Show everybody your Christmas collar. Look at this. What a beautiful collar. And you have a bow? Oh, look at the bow. All right, girl. All right. Let's go, Dad. Time to hit the road. Okay. so change of plans. Brunswick, Georgia. I'm still a little baffled. I don't know. I have to think about this. Maybe I'm delirious, but it told me I was going to arrive with a state of charge of 10%, and then it jacked up as I was driving to 24%. So I'm not going to Brunswick, Georgia. I'm going all the way to. I'm going to go to Yulee, Florida, which if I go there, that's a 250 as well, and it's telling me that I'm going to get to Yulee with 7% state of charge. So it's 160 miles, and it's telling me I've got 296 miles left in the tank because I charged it up to 92%. So I think next stop, Florida. All right, Bailey, she's out. All right, girl, we're going to Florida. Here we come. Just a quick little update. We're now 888 miles into this roughly 1,350 mile trip. And it is, what time is it? 9:46 a.m. on Christmas Eve. We left our hotel this morning around 6:15, Bailey and I. We have driven, let's see, since the last charge, 112 miles. We've burned, that was 44 kilowatt hours of energy we've burned in the last hour and a half. So the average energy consumption is quite high, 390 watt hours per mile. Now, the destination that I've got set in the system is Yulee, Florida. It's a supercharger, it's a 250, and we're 86 miles away from there. The car is still reading as if we have 170 miles of range to go. So the state of charge that the car is estimating that we're going to arrive at Yulee is 6%, up from 3%. So it's kind of interesting to me that the car is sort of guessing around now. Temperature has risen up to 28 degrees here now, which is still cold. We're not preconditioning the battery pack yet, so I think what happens with these big batteries is once they come up to temperature on a long road trip, it takes less energy to keep the mass warm, as opposed to if you let it sit overnight and soaking in the cold, and then you have to heat up that massive battery pack. But once you get it warm, and once you're using it and you're regenning and you're taking energy from it, it takes less energy from a preconditioning standpoint to heat that battery pack up. So the two numbers, the technique that I always use when I road trip, and I was trying something a little different here, which was to rely more on Tesla's estimate in terms of the percentage that I was going to arrive at, as opposed to the percentage that I have in the car or the mileage that I have in the car. But the game that's always worked for me is I look at two numbers. I look at how far I am away from the destination and the miles that the car is telling me I have left to go. So if I look at those two numbers now, I've got 166 miles of range, apparently, is what the car is telling me. And I've got 83 miles only to the destination. So the real answer there is I got plenty of juice, right? One would think. So hammer down, try and bring those two numbers, the differential between those two numbers, as close to, I don't want to say zero, but I like to bring it as close to zero just because it's fun for me. It's a game, but definitely narrow that gap way down. And that means that I could actually burn energy right now and go faster. The only thing is we're starting to hit into a little bit of traffic here as the day is progressing. But yeah, so anyway, that's the update. Next stop will be the Supercharger in Yulee, Florida. I think there are only 7 stations. Kind of weird number 7. But there are 7 stations there, I believe, all 250s. And let's see, let me just check it out and see how many, just out of curiosity, how many cars are there right now. Yeah, out of the 7, there are 4 cars charging, so there's 3 available, which is you know, look, all I need is 1, right? So these things ebb and flow, they come and go as time goes on, as the day passes. We may have to wait. So far I haven't this whole trip. But again, a lot of people are having trouble, you know, charging on the CCS network for road tripping. CCS cars are great if you're, you know, on the occasional trip. But boy, I'll tell you, there's a lot of noise right now about cold weather affecting these newer CCS stations from Electrify America and perhaps other stations as well, other companies. So yeah, look, you know, so far Tesla, as far as I'm concerned, the story here is there's no story, right? So, you know, the story here is this network is just, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's everywhere. I really don't want to be a fanboy, and I'm not going to be, but it is just a pleasure. Downright boring. I mean, you don't even have to think about this when you got a Tesla. So we're at 10% state of charge, which translates into distance of 38 miles, and we are only 6.6 miles away from our destination at Yulee. So no issue making it here. Once again, no issue. Let's check out and see how many. Oh, and here it is, 11 a.m. All 7 stalls are available at Yulee. So no issues as far as availability, at least right now, and I'm only 6 miles away. So Bailey, I think we're in good luck here, once again. Well, the birds are out, even though it's 35 degrees here in Florida. They're looking at me cross-eyed saying, what in the heck's going on? But what is going on here is yet another Tesla supercharging station. This is a V3. It's these are 250s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. We've got the Model S. We pulled in at a 7% state of charge here in Yulee, Florida. And let's go ahead and plug in again. Hit the button, plug in. Let's see what happens. And once again, it's charging. Let's just check out the curve a little bit here, see what we're gonna get. Already pulling 152, 150. Well, just had a nice lunch, and it's time to unplug. Once again, a great charging session here at Tesla. And there's a bunch of cars here now. Actually, I think the last one just pulled in, so we're full here. There's been people coming and going. All good. One thing I noticed here on the Tesla Supercharger, it says here, Supercharger for service, please call, and then you'll notice there's no number. And the reason there's no number is because you don't really need to call them for service. So once again, a great charging session. We're at 94% and no issues. I would say it's time to hit the button again.
That was easy.
That was easy. Bailey, what do you think? Was that easy? I think this one deserves a double. That was a good hamburger and hot dog.
That was easy.
All right. Now they're starting to pull in. They're starting to pull in. Oh, yeah. We're getting full here. I can't believe it. I got thrown in autopilot jail again. And this time, folks, I had my hand on the steering wheel and maybe not resting firm enough for it to detect it, but there was no audible noise. And I was going down a road like, 60, 65 miles an hour, not anything, just a 2-lane highway. And immediately, with no audible warning, it threw me in jail. And so I looked in the menus to see if there was any kind of what the heck? What the heck? Hey, this bird is like, I don't know, maybe that's the jailbird coming after me. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know what happened, but I'm in jail for the 4th time. I only got one more attempt, and I haven't even tested out full self-driving in the city yet, so I'm not going to use the auto steer function for the rest of this trip. Now, just to kind of go over the trip, all right, I'll say okay, but it's under protest. The trip here, since the last charge, 118 miles, 2 hours. It's a slow road, pretty good efficiency. We're talking about 43 degrees. We're somewhere in Florida, Ocala, Florida. We've gone 1,095 miles. We have less than 300 miles to go. And yeah, it's been a great trip. Really has. Except for, I don't know, autopilot jail. It's just, Bailey, Daddy's in jail again. Kind of like you. Look at you. You're in jail over there. Oh, man. So we've made it to the last charging session. I thought it was at some kind of a shopping center, but it's at a Wawa. So let's plug in. This is charging session number 6, another 350. And there's only 2 cars here in an 8 stall setup. So, all good. Plug in. Let's see. Once again, flawless. It's charging. All right, so there you have it. We'll get inside and we'll see what kind of speeds we get, but we are 6 for 6. All right, we plugged in at 13% and it peaked right up to 180 kilowatts, and already we're at 256. So let's see, 16%, 17%, we're already at 256 kilowatts. It's just gonna stay there. My prediction is it's gonna peg right there all the way to about 31% where it's gonna taper down. So consistent charging curves every single session I've had, except for the one V2 that I charged at. 5 out of 6 have been V3s, and they've all worked flawlessly. Thank you, Tesla. All right, there we are at 31%, and just came off the 256 down to 242. So again, very consistent curve, right around 31%. It starts to taper. Still 240, we'll take it, but you can see it's slowly tapering off. Very consistent. We did precondition on the way here using the navigation, plug and charge, en route navigation, battery preconditioning. All these things are really necessary in order to have a good road tripping car. Good range, chargers working in the cold, the car working in the cold. Dog mode is an amazing thing as well that makes a trip like this really possible. Right, Bailey? Oh, you're such a good girl. You've been good. Let's just go over the trip here so far. We have gone 1,203 miles, and since the last charge, we went 226 miles on 72 kilowatt hours, basically of the 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, and we're averaging 318 watt hours per mile. It's 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve here at a Tesla V3 in Florida, just south of Tampa. And again, I'm just lonely. There's just nobody here. Unbelievable. So some of you may know that my daughter Katie lives here in Tampa, and here I am. She's down at the condo with my wife Kathy, about 3 hours south of here, 2.5 hours. Well, all of a sudden I'm sitting here filming, and her roommate pulls up, Allie. And she's like, "Hey, Dave, how's it going?" I was like, oh my goodness, I'm like delirious. I've been on the road for 2 days, and I didn't realize how close I was to where she lives. So anyway, Katie spotted me on Find My Friends, and she said, "Hey, go try and surprise my dad." So she did. I've got the last charging session, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna unplug here, and that's it. Success again. Charging stop number 6 in the books. Billy, listen, I need your help here, all right? We just finished our last charging session, and I need you to hit the easy button here this time, okay? Let me have your paw. Come here. Let me have your paw. Here we go. Now, ready?
That was easy.
There you go. You hit it. That was easy. 6 out of 6 charging sessions. They're all easy. Do you want to hit it again? Here, hit it again. Here you go. Hit it again, girl. All right, I'll hit it for you, okay?
That was easy.
Oh, yeah, that was easy. Yes, it was. So I finally made it to Florida without a hitch. Super easy trip. The charging was flawless. You gotta love Tesla. So look, if you've stuck with me through this whole video, you know the drill. CCS, you got all kinds of experiences and challenges and ups and downs. With Tesla, it's just so easy. It's just easy. So listen, thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave, and we'll catch you on the next one.